welcome to the Hanging by a Thread podcast. My name is Ailsa, and this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about all things knitting. And today I'm coming to you with what is going to be the start of a project vlog, taking you along on the process as I get going on a new jumper, sweater, and a test knit. So I'm looking forward to telling you all about that, and then I'll be taking you along as I go through the whole process of making this. So part of the reason I decided to do this as a project vlog is because this is a secret test knit for Sarah Opie, also known as s.knits on Instagram. And so the fact that it's a secret test knit means I won't be able to show on social media or Ravelry my project as I go along. I won't be able to share about this project as I'm making it on my more regular kind of update episodes. So I thought this was a really good candidate for a project vlog because I can kind of document my progress as I go along, and then once the project, the pattern is no longer a secret, I can upload this and show everyone what I have been working on. So that was kind of the thinking. So this is an all-over colourwork sweater. It is fingering weight. And the test is due, I believe, December 15th. It is currently November 6th. So that's something like 6 weeks. That's obviously a lot to ask, but the requirements for this test are to have the yoke and a sleeve done, not to have the whole sweater done. So I think that's doable, but still, a challenge. But yeah, we'll see how far I can get in that time. This is a raglan style construction. And the overall vibe of this sweater is like a quilt square kind of effect. I'm really, really excited about how it's going to look and what this project will end up being. I had originally hoped that I was going to be able to find enough yarn to do this out of stash. Unfortunately, most of my fingering weight stash is superwash and sock yarn. And when I was swatching with what I had in my stash, it just, the colorwork was just not looking right because, non-superwash will tend to like fluff up and fill in the gaps a bit more. Whereas with the non-superwash and the sock yarn, that just wasn't happening and I wasn't happy with it. So I did end up buying some yarn. And then there was a little bit of drama around that. So we'll talk that through. But first of all, I'll show you what I picked up. So from a local yarn shop not far away from me, I picked up these 4 colors. This is Tin Peer Gynt from Sandnes Garn. There we go. That's what that looks like. This is 100% Norwegian wool, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 100% Norwegian wool. 50 grams equals 205 meters. It is non-superwash. It's a more woolly wool, but like feels really nice. I've not worked with Peer Gynt or Tin Peer Gynt before, but I really like the feel of this yarn and I really enjoyed swatching with it. And then the colors I picked up are, this is 2152. So this kind of goldy color. This is 9564. And if I remember correctly, I think this was Matcha, was the color name on the website. I don't remember all of the color names, I'm afraid. This one is 2573, this really rich brown. And then this darker brown is 3082. So I really like how these look together. I think they look beautiful. Unfortunately, I did not love how they swatched together. So let me show you my swatches. So, and I will say the contrast looks better on camera than I think it does in real life. So I made this swatch and I just think that the green is getting really lost against the brown. And the idea of this sweater is that you're going to be using all of the colors in combination with each other. It's not like I could say, okay, the green can go with the dark brown because the contrast is high enough there, and I'll put the yellow and the tan together. No, they all have to work together. So that, and certainly when I did another swatch, the green and the yellow, this is a baby swatch because I was just checking stitch gauge on a smaller needle size, but you can see there's barely any contrast between the green and the yellow. And I didn't think I was going to be happy with how it would look having, like, let's imagine like you have some really bold contrast and some really low contrast. And I was like, oh, am I going to have to go buy even more yarn? And when I was hoping to make this a stash project, I was feeling really bummed because like I said, I really do like how these look together. And if I was striping, for example, I think this would look great. I think this would be so cool, but it just isn't working in the colorwork motif. But I realized, and I don't think I have the, 1 second. Okay, here we go. I do have in my stash some Sanders Gone Sunday, which is also fingering weight, but is a merino, but still non-superwash, just merino rather than Norwegian wool, in this color 3821, which I think maybe marzipan. And then I kind of thought, oh, and this is 50 grams is 235 meters. So slightly lighter. So this is 205 meters, this is 235, but I don't think the difference in gauge is going to be so much that it's going to be a huge problem. But I think if I take out the green and I put in the marzipan, I think there's going to be enough contrast between all the colors. I think likely the lowest contrast pairing is going to be this pairing here. Although, I mean, in the skein it looks okay, but then in the skein these look kind of, well, maybe they don't look contrasty. I don't know. They looked contrasty enough to me. But anyway, I think these will be the lowest contrast, but I think everything else, so for example, you can see here that the tan and the gold against each other has enough contrast, I think, when you see it where it changes on the border. I think let's just like do all the pairings. So I think the tan and the brown, the tan and the gold, the tan and the marzipan and the gold. Obviously, I think the dark brown is going to have great contrast with everything. I already have this swatch, so I know it has great contrast. So I think this is going to work. And even though I kind of loved this green and I love this palette, I think I have to go with what's actually going to make a more beautiful garment overall. So I'm sure I can find something to do with a couple of balls of this. I don't know what it will be yet, but we'll put it somewhere. So yeah, now it's just time to, I think, now that I've done my swatching and I've been thinking about my gauge, I need to go down a needle size, I believe, from my swatches. But now that I've got all that sort of done, I think it's time to start casting on and getting going on this project, which I'm really excited about. All right, we'll talk more once I've got some of this going. So I am still trying to get my tubular cast on right. I've done it about 5 times already. And I just realised I have too many stitches on this version. It's looking nice and neat though. I guess it's good practice with a tubular cast on, which I don't do very often, but getting a little bit frustrated, so hopefully the 6th time is the charm. Okay, I'm gonna give this a go. Okay, I have finally got my tubular cast on done, and I can start working my ribbing rounds. I've been watching the final of Celebrity Traitors while I do this, so at least I've had some good dramatic TV to keep me company, keep me entertained, but relieved to finally have got this done. I think it will look really nice. I feel like tubular cast-ons are really worth it. The look is very nice, but they are a lot of work, and because I don't do them very often, I make mistakes. So, but yeah, worth persevering. So glad to have got that done, and now just to get into the ribbing. Hello, it is Saturday, November 8th. I have made a little bit of progress on my sweater, not a huge amount as you can see, but I have the neckband ribbing done, and then the pattern also asks you to do, this is really hard for you to see because it's dark yarn. It also asks you to do a section of double knitting, which is this band here at the bottom. That took quite a while because I was doing it on teeny tiny needles. These are 2mm needles, size 0 US, so that was fun for my hands. Yeah, I've now done that, and so the next step is I'm going to be moving on to the short rows. This pattern does have you working the short rows as you're doing the colourwork pattern, so I will be doing colourwork flat. I've not done that before, other than I did do a swatch just to try it out and see what I thought, and I didn't find it too bad, so I'm hopeful that that's going to be okay, but that's what I'm going to be getting into next, so we'll see how it goes. Hey, so it is November 12th. This is going to be a rough and ready update. It's been kind of a hard day, and we won't get into that, but I did want to make sure I checked in about progress on my sweater. I just lost a stitch marker. I'll get that in a minute. So here is what we have. Yay! So I have made my way through the short rows, and I'm working on the main motif. I'm going to hold it this way because I think you maybe see a little bit more there on the back. Yeah. But not so much when you've got the backlight shining on it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I feel really good about how this is looking. It's really exciting. The short rows were a little bit challenging, not so much because of the working the colourwork flat, which again I don't mind. Like, it's not the most fun, but it's not as difficult as I think I was led to believe it might be. Like, I really didn't struggle that much with it. It was more tricky because of doing the short rows. That section was written out rather than charted, and I just found my ability to kind of process that information in a written out way. Like, it was totally made sense for it to be done that way. I understand why it was done that way, but it was hard for my brain to compute that. So I really had to think while I was doing that bit. But now I'm just on to the straightforward raglan increases and knitting from the chart, and it is just going so swimmingly. I'm having so much fun. This is a really cool pattern to see kind of developing as I'm knitting. Yeah, it's just really fun at the moment. So I am just working my way through it, having a relaxing evening after a tough day. And yeah, I'll check in again soon with more progress, hopefully. Okay, bye. Hey, hello. It is December 2nd. It has been a while since I sat down and actually talked about my progress on this test knit. I went through a period of everyone was really sick. My kid was sick. I was sick. My partner was sick. I didn't film much. I did do a lot of knitting, but I just wasn't going to be. Sorry, I had a cable there and I had to move it. I couldn't stand seeing it in the viewfinder. Yeah, I wasn't going to be coming on camera when I was like, cold filled and what have you. So yeah, I thought I'd sit down and talk to you about where I'm at. I can't even remember what we talked about last time that I filmed a video updating you on this project. So let's pull it out and see what we have. Okay. It's getting a little bit bunched up because we are almost through the raglan increases, and I'm on the biggest cord size I had, but it's still a little bit bunched up. But here she is in all her glory. Oh my goodness, I love looking at this. I'm really excited by how this is showing up. My partner did say, he was like, it's really busy. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but I think it's a vibe. I think it's going to be really good. We'll see. We'll see when it's done, but I'm actually really liking how this is looking. I think the colors I think it makes it less busy because the colors are working so well together. Like, everything's really in concert with each other. So I just realized I'm showing you the back. Not that it hugely matters. Oh no, I wasn't showing you the back. Never mind. Yeah. So I have been working steadily on this. I have about 5 or 6 rows left in this chart repeat that I'm working on at the bottom here. And once that is done, it's going to be time to split for sleeves. This is like actually a surprisingly soothing knit, where because each row is so repetitive in terms of like you're repeating the same stitch pattern for each square across the rows. So you've only ever got, like, I think it's 15 stitches to remember and to repeat. And so you're just repeating it a lot over the course of the round. So it's really easy for each row to memorize what you're doing on that row and then just go. So it is surprisingly, for looking so intricate, it is surprisingly mindless. So that has some pleasure to it. And yeah, so once I get through this last motif, it's going to be time to split for sleeves. I do have to make a decision at that point. And let me just pull up my pattern so I can kind of talk through the thinking I have here. Okay, so in the pattern, it does give you guidance on which colors to be using when. And for my size, it's suggesting that when I start splitting for sleeves, I'm going to come back to this color combination. So my cream and my gold. So I'm going to be repeating that color combination right after this color combination. And then let me read a bit more here. So essentially what I think you would be doing is you do the splitting for sleeves in this color combination, then you'd be doing this again. So you'd be repeating, you do this, and then this and this again, a repeat. And then you'd be kind of working through the whole color changing repeat again. And then the sleeves, you'd also be starting the sleeves with this same color combination, the cream and the gold. I don't know how I feel about that. And I did ask the designer if she would be okay with me switching up the colors because it just didn't make sense to me to repeat this right away again. And she said it was fine to switch up the color order and to make it our own. So I do have that option, but she gave an explanation of why she'd chosen to do it that way. And I just need to go back and look through, like, what is that explanation? Do I understand why she wanted it that way? Because, I believe that she's done more thinking about this than I have. Like, obviously, it's her design. But I want to see if when I read through her explanation again, which I guess, oh no, I can't do it right now because it's on my phone and you are on my phone. But yeah, I'll have to see if it makes sense to me because my instinct is to start back to go here to this color that I started with, this color combination, which is kind of like the brown and the cream, to restart the kind of pattern back with this. And I can't see why that wouldn't be a good idea, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna like do what I feel, and then if it really doesn't work out, I guess I could frog it back, but also I could probably just live with it. Um, yeah, so that's like the big question I have right now about what I'm gonna do when I get to that splitting for sleeves section. But um, obviously I will make note if I change where I do the color sections. I will note that in my Ravelry page and what have you. So people who come looking later will be able to tell what I've done, and I will remember what I've done. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So yeah, now at the moment, just need to not lose all my stitches. Crisis averted. I have recaught those stitches. But yes, now what I need to do is just finish off this motif, and then I can start thinking about that decision. So that's where we're at, making good progress towards that December 18th deadline. I think once I've done maybe the split for sleeves and maybe once I've just done the split for the sleeves, I'll think about picking up the sleeve because, again, the goal is to have the yoke done, almost done, and a sleeve by that December 18th deadline. So I would quite like to get that sleeve done as soon as possible so then I know I've met my commitments, and then I'll probably work on the rest of the body and then the next sleeve. So having fun, enjoying this, and we'll get back to you soon with what I decide on that all-important colour split. Okay, bye. Hi, hello. It is Saturday, December 7th, and I'm just checking in with where I'm at on my sweater. So I did go ahead and split the sleeves, and first of all, I started doing it in the colors I wanted to do it in that I talked about last time. And then I had an issue, my numbers weren't matching up, and I had to rip it back anyway, and I was starting to second guess myself. So then the next time I did do it in the colors that were recommended, which is the cream and the gold. Oh, it's not focusing. There we go. But I did let's see if I can get this to, yeah, here we go. I did end up, I kept looking at it as it was growing, as I was adding more and more to this square, and then I was thinking about adding this one next, which is what the pattern would have me do, and I just didn't like how that was going to look. I just was not feeling great about essentially having these two parts of the block repeat immediately below. I just didn't feel good about that. So I've got about 8 rows here, or 8 rounds here, that I am going to rip back, and I'm going to go back and start again with the colours, the brown and the cream, to kind of trust my gut again and what I think I'm going to like. So that's what I'm going to do. Just anyway, it's fine, but just a lot of ripping back on this sleeve split for various reasons. So yeah, I'm just going to settle in and do that now, and yeah, we'll get started again. I think I was thinking I would rather rip back and make this in the way that I want to make it and be happy with the outcome than get to the end and always be looking at that middle section and being irked by it. I think it's better to rip back 8 rounds than, you know, be annoyed for the rest of the life of this sweater. So yeah, I think I'm going to put on some knitting videos, YouTube, and just get this restarted again. Okay. Hi, hello, it is Tuesday, December 16th. I don't remember when I last checked in. I know it's been a while, and there's quite a lot of progress to talk to you about on this test knit. Yeah, things have just been really busy. We've been celebrating Hanukkah, there was getting ready for the holiday, there was a period where I had a 4-day migraine. That was fun. So anyway, I haven't checked in recently, so I have quite a bit to show you. So I'm pretty sure last time we talked, I was at the underarm sleeve split, and I was kind of waffling about what I was going to do about the colors and kind of questioning. I know what it was. I had started by doing what the pattern recommended, which was to repeat this color, the cream and the gold, and then I was like, I don't like how that's looking. I want to go ahead and do the cream and the brown, and follow a kind of different, follow the order that made sense to me. And I was saying, I think before I did that and ripped out the cream and gold, I was like, the designer had an explanation. I'm not quite sure I understand it, but now I do. So just in case you're ever making this, specifically, I don't think this is true for all sizes, but for size 4, this is true. Because of, you've got these squares that are all a standard size, and so getting the bust circumference to work at sensible increments means that some sizes have an odd number of squares on front and back. So if with the way that the sleeve split worked, because you had used this brown in the previous motif, if you use the brown in this motif, when you got to the back, the brown as background would stack on top, so it would look like a solid block of brown with the motif being in either the black or the white. So then that would have been quite a jarring look on the back. So that was the issue that the designer was trying to get you to avoid. Makes total sense. And I completely understand that, you know, there has to be a, there's it sounded like really complicated design work, and she'd really thought it through, and I really appreciate that. So she had it so that you were using this color combination that wouldn't have been in either, that wasn't in, you know, it was neither of these colors, so you weren't going to end up with that stacking of colors. You would still end up with the issue that, and this is hard to explain, but essentially on the front and back, the colors would swap, kind of what they're above and beneath. That's really hard to explain. There's another issue that was going to happen with it. Anyway, so what I did in order to get around that, because I decided I still wanted to go ahead with not using the colors she suggested, even though there was that problem. So as an alternative to her suggestion, and it also solves the other issue, what I've done is at the underarm, I've done a double. So you can see here, I've got 2 squares that have the brown as the background and the white as the cream as the motif, before I move on to the cream background, brown motif. And that's at both underarms, and that just means that I get to avoid that stacking issue, avoid any other issues with the color. I'm continuing it as I go down into the next color, just to keep it consistent. And I think for me, this is really not very noticeable. You maybe see it, I don't even think you do see it on the back because it's at the underarm, but if you notice it at all, it's on the back. I don't care as much about that. And for me, that's a better solution, or I liked that solution better, let's put it that way. So that's what I've been doing on the body. I knit both the underarm split round, which is this one, and then one extra just to give me a little bit more. And then I have been working on the sleeve. So I actually probably can show you this on, so give me a minute. Okay, so here we are. So you can see where I'm at on the body. It's like just under my bust. And I am almost done on my first sleeve. I'm just working on the ribbing here. In fact, I'm wondering, let's see if I can kind of hold my arm out. I think I might be about to finish my ribbing because the pattern suggests doing the ribbing for, I think, 2 inches. I'm at about 1 inch, but I think 2 inches is going to make it longer. I know that my row gauge is a little bit off. It's longer than the pattern, so yeah, I think I'm probably going to do a shorter ribbing on the sleeve and just put that in as a modification. But yeah, here's how it's looking, and I'm really pleased with how it's looking. I think the fit, like obviously it's not blocked, so it's a little bit bulky and bobbly, but I think the fit is actually feeling really good. You've got quite wide sleeves. There are some decreases in here, but it's a wider sleeve and like a kind of boxier fit. I think I'm probably going to keep this fairly cropped. I'm not exactly sure what length, like maybe just to like here, like the top. This is the waist of my jeans, so maybe that's kind of where I'm going to aim for. But yeah, this is how it's looking. I also will just show you, this is kind of awkward as my magic loop is flapping around. I really like, so the decreases are charted on the sleeve, and I really like how it looks. Like, doesn't that look so clean? It's so well thought out. I'm so impressed by the details on this sweater, honestly. I just, yeah, feel really, really pleased with how that's looking. It looks beautiful. Yeah, so I think I'm going to knit a little bit more on the ribbing, but not too much, and then bind it off. And then I will have fulfilled my test knit commitments, because the commitment was to knit through the yoke and to knit one sleeve. It's possible I might take like a day or so break after finishing this. It is like a pretty intensive knit. I've been enjoying it a lot, but I think what I want to do next is do the other sleeve. And I say that because I am playing a little bit of yarn chicken. So I want to complete the other sleeve so that I know that it's symmetrical, and then take stock of how much yarn I have left and see whether I think I'm going to need to order some additional balls. And I did end up having to knit the sleeves on magic loop, which is not my favorite way to knit small circumference, so I want to knit the next sleeve next, but I also want a little bit of break from doing double magic loop. So I might just give myself a little break, work on some other projects for a couple of days, and then come back to it. But we'll see. I also might just get like kind of finish it fever and want to carry on. I think the sleeve took me like maybe about a week, maybe slightly less than that. Yeah, maybe slightly less than that, but yeah, it's so exciting. Okay, that's it for now. Bye. Hey friends, I realized that I don't even know how long it's been since I sat down to update you on my progress on the Brighten Sweater. It is currently January 8th. If you have seen some of my videos leading up to the end of 2025, I was suggesting that maybe I would be able to finish this project before the end of the year. Spoiler alert, that did not happen. I had like a couple of weeks where I had some really bad migraine, and this was not the project to work on in that period. And then, you know, just the chaos of the holidays, everything like that. So that didn't happen. It was also just a wildly ambitious idea anyway. But I'll show you where I'm at. And then the other thing that happened was I did run out of yarn, so I did have to go ahead and order some more yarn in order to be able to complete this project. So that obviously added some time. So I have 2 sleeves. Oh boy. I have both sleeves now, and I'm back working on the body. After sleeve separation, I have now completed 3 pattern repeats, and I think my goal is to do 5 pattern repeats, so 2 additional ones, and then the ribbing. I'll obviously try it on before finally deciding on that, but I think that's what I'm going to aim for a more kind of cropped look. So I do just now need to just kind of plow ahead with this. I would really like to get this done before too long. I'm really feeling the desire to have this finished object. Look how good it looks. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, definitely feels like it's time to just put my head down, make some really good progress on this, and wrap this project up. It is the 18th of January, Sunday. I am on my final round of ribbing. This has taken so long. yeah, I mean, obviously I should have thought how long this was going to take to do 2 inches of ribbing with like 300 odd stitches to go around, but I'm finally, like, the finish line is in sight, and then I just have like a million and one ends to even, a million and one ends to weave in, but I am so close to being done. I'm so excited. So I just have a little bit more to do here, do my bind off, weave in my ends, block, and then we're gonna have a finished object. Yay! So I'm getting pretty excited now that I'm soon gonna have this beautiful sweater ready to wear. Hi everyone, it is February 8th. It has been quite a while since I last filmed about this sweater. As you can tell, it's done! Ah. I'm so happy with this piece. So I finished this on January 19th, so I've had it for a couple of weeks now and have worn it a fair number of times. Yeah, it's done. I can't even remember what I was talking about the last time I sat down to vlog about this, but I may have already got the extra yarn I needed, or I may have been saying I needed to get extra yarn to finish. So I did need some extra balls of yarn to finish this off, but once that came, it was pretty quick to get it all off. And yeah, now it's done and I've been wearing it. It's really nice because it's very cozy but also light at the same time. So again, this is Tin Pig Gint, so a heavy fingering weight yarn, and it is like a more woolly wool. It's 100% Norwegian wool, so it's a little bit more toothy. I don't find this prickly. Like, it's definitely not like, you know, like a merino, but it is, to me, it's not prickly. It does just feel more woolly. So very warm, which is great. We are having a frigid winter here. So it's been keeping me cozy, but it does at the same time not feel heavy. I'm really, really excited to make more fingering weight colorwork sweaters because I think it's just like such a perfect style of sweater for my environment. Let me see if I can stand up. I'm kind of filming awkwardly, but let me see if I can give you a bit more of a view. There we go. So this is, you can see a little bit more of it. I really like where it hits. Here's my belly button, so it is pretty cropped, and it's like sitting. These are my high-waisted jeans, so you can see how it's sitting there. I'm pretty happy with that, and I love like the kind of boxy oversized sleeves you can see. And yeah, I think the only thing that I find a little bit strange is like the neckline does tend to sit a little bit oddly. It can kind of curl a bit, but it's really, I'm not sure why it's doing that, and it's kind of minimal. It doesn't bug me that much, but it is just a small thing. Originally I thought, oh, the collar feels really high. I wonder if I'm going to be okay with that, but I've not found it a problem at all. So yeah, and I'm just so delighted with this. I feel like it's really versatile, funnily enough, even though it's like such a specific kind of look. But you know, I can wear it with jeans, I can wear it with a skirt, and it is kind of like, it's the statement, but I don't know, I enjoy that about it, I guess. I was saying to my mom, it kind of reminds me of a sweater that she has, or has even, and she's had it for like as long as I can remember. And it's very different because her sweater is a more traditional kind of ferrule pattern, but it's kind of that same idea of that it's just, it's so patterned and so
striking that it just kind of makes the whole outfit. So yeah, I'm very, very pleased with this. I think it took me just over 2 months, which for an all over colourwork fingering weight sweater is pretty fantastic. This was, again, just like a very Moorish knit. You just wanted to keep going because you've got the color changes, you've got these very short motif repeats, so it is very engaging. I was really surprised at how quickly I was able to do it, so that has also been fantastic. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Just maybe at some point I will sit down and do more of a full finished object review, but also maybe not, given I've done this whole video. I'm just really excited by it, and I really recommend you checking out this pattern. It is, once again, the Brighten Sweater by Sarah Opie. I think she's a fantastic designer, honestly. Like, again, let me just show you. I think the fit on this raglan is so good. I love how this fits me. It's such a well-fitting raglan. And another detail I love, and I know I've talked about before here, is how those decreases on the sleeve look. And those are all charted out, so you're not like playing a guessing game. And it looks so neat and precise. I love how you get on the raglan line the color changes and how that looks. I just think she is such a designer who's focused on fit and detail. And honestly, it was such a joy to test knit this, and so excited to have the finished object. I really do highly recommend it, so check it out. It is available now, has been available for a little while. But yeah, this is it. It's done. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this project vlog. If you did, please leave a comment down below, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see future project vlogs, as well as podcast episodes, other knitting content. Yeah, just would love to have you around here. Okay, take care everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.